Okay, last question for the chapter. We have question 36. And essentially what happened here is, again, this is a very typical question. You are having someone exercising. What happened to your water? Because again, it's the amount of urine is under the amount of water. It's an osmolar regulation. So what happened to your water during an exercise? Now, if you think about it, exercise, what happened? You sweat, you breathe a lot, and etc. In that case, you should lose water. So you lose water through sweat. And how does that link back to your homeostasis, to your osmolar regulation? If you remember, the key word is blood osmotic pressure. Whatever you answer, it must be directed to this particular factor that you are regulating. It's called blood osmotic pressure. And remember, blood osmotic pressure doesn't measure water, okay, 不是量水分, it doesn't measure water, it measures the concentration. So the more water, the less concentration, so less pressure. The less water, that means the more concentrated it is, right? Because it's less water. So the more concentrated, then the higher osmotic pressure. In this case, when you lose water, you essentially gain concentration. So you gain the pressure increases. This is very important. Make sure you remember the topic over here is not water, it's not salt, it's blood osmotic pressure. I think moving on, it should be quite simple. So if you remember, you are supposed to reabsorb water. You lose water, you reabsorb water loss. So how do you reabsorb water? Pituitary gland. It is stimulated to secrete ADH. Sorry, more ADH. That will be better because it should secrete all the time, but at certain situation like this, in abnormal cases, you should secrete more. That's the difference. So you secrete more, then again, the very, very standard typical answer, two of your component would be more permeable. Distal convoluted tubule and collecting duct. These two should become more permeable to water. Same thing, simple. If you want to reabsorb water, you get the permeability to water. If you want to reabsorb salt, you get it more permeable to salt. And when you're more permeable, very straightforward, more water is reabsorbed. More water is reabsorbed. Okay, more water is reabsorbed. So I think quite straightforward here. I mean, quite self-explanatory. When you have more water is reabsorbed, of course, you get less water being excreted, hence less urine. Thank you so much. Okay. But yeah, if you want to put a big conclusion, remember the big ending we always mention, blood osmotic pressure increase, decrease back to normal. Sure. Just that in this case, because the question asked for the amount of urine, so you can actually stop there. You don't need to conclude it, but you can if you want. That is definitely always a good practice to end it with a big happy ending. Something, increase, decrease back to normal. Okay, thank you.